In this lab, you will learn how to create and connect to Google Cloud SQL MySQL instance and perform basic SQL operations using the Google Cloud Console and MySQL client. So basically, we will create a Cloud SQL instance and then we will connect to your the instance using the MySQL client in Cloud Shell. And finally, we'll create a database and upload data. So before we click create instance, you can see the description here. Cloud SQL instances are fully managed relational MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server databases. Google handles replication, patch management, and database management to ensure availability and performance. So without wasting time, let's create instance. And you can see the database engine options. We have MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server. So let's click choose MySQL. And you have to provide, let me zoom it a bit, you can see clearly. So first and foremost, you have to provide the instance ID. So let's give a ID MySQL from console, and we need to either generate a password or we can give a custom password. Let's say simple DevOps, because you have to remember this password. Later we will use this. So you can see the database version. We have three versions right now. Let's leave it default, and you can also configure the production and development environments. So you can also choose the region and zone. You can see that the US Central One zone is default. You can also choose the single zone, which is not recommended for production. You have to choose the multiple zones. You can also specify zones, and you can also customize your instance. Like you can see the machine type, storage, connections, data protection, maintenance, flags, and labels. You can see the machine type here. We have high memory. Since we are just doing some example, we can choose the shared core or lightweight. It's up to your choice. You can also choose the storage, SSD or HDD, and SSD is recommended. You can see the storage capacity. We can choose the 10 GB for right now for this example, and you can see the enable automatic storage increases. It's enabled. So you can go to connections. You can see the instance IP assignment, private IP, public IP, and you can also play around with data protection. And here you have to if you can see the enable deletion protection, and it's checked now right now. That means that if enabled, this instance will not be able to delete it until this feature is disabled. So you have to uncheck this if you want to delete your SQL instance. So, but you can also add it and delete it after that. So let's leave a default and create instance. And as far as I know, creating an instance, this SQL instance will take a bit time, like 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm just fast forwarding my video and then start with once it's ready. Creation of Cloud SQL MySQL instance took a long time, about more than 10 minutes in my case. You can see the green mark on the left side, which means that the Cloud SQL MySQL instance is ready. You can click and explore the features. You can see the overview and CPU utilization. You can see connect to this instance, public IP address, connection name, and you can see the service account here, operations and logs. We can also explore connections, users. You can see the connections, public IP, and you can see the users, which has a root user for now, and databases. We'll also create a database, and for simply to create a database, you can click at create database and give it name, for example to dos, and click create, and you will see here to dos, and you can see the backups and replicas, and you can see you can also create the read replica. You can also look the operations, you can see. So for now, what we are going to do that we are going to create, we're going to connect instance using MySQL client Cloud Shell. So for that, I'm gonna show you now how to do connections. Basically, we'll go to Cloud Shell to connect, but there was an option here. I'm going to show you the connection. You can see that to connect using a cloud, you have to click this Open Cloud Shell, right? And you will see an option. So basically, we will connect this SQL instance, MySQL client in Cloud Shell. You can see it's automatically giving me the code, which is gcloud SQL connect gcloud SQL connect MySQL from console. This is my Cloud SQL name, and the user is a root, and it's giving me the quite. And let's click it, and we need to authorize. It will show error now because we need to enable the API as far as I remember. Let's see what will happen. It's saying that allow listing your IP from incoming connection from 5 minutes. You can see that it's asking me to enter my password. As you remember, we provided the password, which was simple DevOps, and I'm gonna click enter. Yeah, it's connected for MySQL instance now. So basically now we'll do some we'll perform some data operations here. So we'll create a database called guestbook. Let me show from my notepad. You can see the data. We'll create a database guestbook, and we'll use the guestbook, and we'll create a table, the name. You can see some details, and finally we'll try to display this data. So let me copy this create database guestbook and run in here, create database. Okay, it's now created. So now we'll use the data here, use guestbook, and then we'll enter this, and finally we'll show it, we'll display it. You can see our data. First guest I got here, and second guest me too, 1 2. This is how you can connect to your instance to MySQL client in Cloud Shell. So let's go out, and you can go and explore the features here. You can see the guestbook database, which we perform it using Cloud Shell, but we can also do it using a console here. So this is all about it. Thank you very much. And in the next video, we are going to create Cloud SQL MySQL instance using Terraform. Thank you.